I feel like being a gamer in the modern day video gaming industry is like that George Orwell quote, where every record has been falsified, rewritten, and renamed, and history has stopped because we're trapped in this endless present where the party is right. And the party in this case has to be the political progressives that have taken over the video gaming industry and installed their own doctrine of uglifying all looks of female characters and portraying all male characters as idiots and fools. And I think this is a situation we find ourselves in the entire video gaming industry, where that is the prerogative of a lot of the game developers that are producing product nowadays, is to instill their personal philosophies and make sure the gamers follow that pattern of philosophy. And I think this is playing out with a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster coming out that has angered the fan base a little bit with some of the remastering and reshaping of the looks of Aloy, which already happened in the sequel of Horizon Zero Dawn, where they did change her looks completely into such a way where people were comparing her to a YouTuber, Nikado Avocado, who started his career very skinny and became obscenely obese, and now we're having comparisons between a character that was nothing like that in the previous iteration of the game. And I think this is a testament to what we've been seeing in the industry, where we try to uglify and remove all the feminine attributes for a lot of the female characters that are part of these franchises that have been built up in the past. And I think Aloy is probably the primest example where we saw a degradation in looks that kind of left game players puzzled and confused and questioning what's going on with Sony, where they had to make this character obscenely ugly when in the past they looked pretty good and appealing to a lot of game players. And I think that's the thing that we're seeing play out with Horizon Zero Dawn, the remaster, where they're going back into the past to correct some mistakes in their mind that they perceive need to be corrected. And of course, that is that skinnier look of Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn that doesn't match her overall chipmunk fat puffy face from Horizon Forbidden West. And it gets back into that 1984 mindset where these developers nowadays, where they have to go back into the past and readdress some of the situations that they established with the character, particularly how the character looks, which is completely fine. It looks like a normal female woman, nothing out of ordinary, nothing super attractive, nothing too ugly. But I think that is a thing we've been seeing in the gaming industry, where things have to be readdressed in such a way where you have to remove even the basic appealing looks of feminine traits and replace them with something that is more unattractive and off-putting for the players. And I think that's what we have seen all throughout the industry for the past few years that have frustrated gamers, where ugliness is the priority, where making things unattractive and unappealing to the male gaze is the main point of developing video games nowadays, where you want to make all the characters hideously ugly and off-putting because you want to make a statement to the male game players saying you must like this too, when in actuality no one likes this. Even the female game players, they're offended by this just as much as the male game players are. And I think this is the situation that we see with Horizon Zero Dawn, where gamers are complaining. They're going, we don't want to see this. We know what you're going to do to these characters. We know you're going to address the situation in such a way where you're going to change the entirety of the game that was actually fun and engaging for a lot of players. And I think that's the case for Horizon Zero Dawn, the first iteration of this game, where people enjoyed the game for what it was, and to go back and change it because you feel like the looks are not in line with your modern day political takes, it's ruining that game and its overall hold on the fans. And I think we saw something similar with Star Wars, where George Lucas went back to the past to readdress certain issues that he had with the old versions of the original trilogy, and that angered fans as well. So this is not something people do just because of the character's looks. It's just why you're doing this is something that we already liked, and why did you even change it in the first place in the sequel into something that we don't like? And I think that comparison is what's aggravating a lot of fans nowadays that are looking at Horizon Forbidden West, a lackluster game that wasn't as engaging because it felt like it was too inundated in the modern audience political sphere of influence, where it was trying to be too much of a message of the modern philosophical takes of the developers producing that game. And I think that is what Sony is nowadays. When you look at a lot of the products that they're producing, they're just heavy on message, where they're just lost in philosophical takes, and they're not even concerned of making a good game for game players to actually enjoy and feel a little bit of relief in when they play those games. And I think changing the looks of the characters is the main thing that is off-putting to a lot of people nowadays when it comes to the video game industry, because it just shows the disdain for the people that that are developing these games nowadays for the past iterations of the game. We saw this with Tomb Raider in a lot of ways, where all the people creating new Tomb Raider content hate Lara Croft and anything related to the character, where they just want to make their own version that is annoying and uninteresting to the people that are fans of Lara Croft. And I think that's the situation we see spread throughout the entertainment industry, where we have these people that have control of these IPs that hate the IPs that they control and want to denigrate it and destroy it in such a way. And it's kind of funny, this is coming from the same people that did create Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. They're just so ashamed of their work now that they feel guilty enough where they have to go back and change it. And it's just showing this philosophical takeover within the gaming industry, where people that were okay with some of their designs feel ashamed of it because of the political pressure that is mounting on them within their own studio, within their own sphere of influences of people that they're hiring that are making a detrimental impact on the games that they're producing. And from what we see from Horizon Zero Dawn, it is having a negative influence because the sales for the sequel were halved in comparison to Horizon Zero Dawn. So Forbidden West was a halfway failure, but Horizon Zero Dawn sold so much, so making half of that sales is not too bad, because I think Zero Dawn sold like 19 million, Horizon Forbidden West sold around 9 million. So that's still a lot of copies. It still has some success. It's still going to continue on with its own sequels, but how many people are going to play those sequels because of the actions and changes you made with the character in Horizon Forbidden West? I think people are put off from this whole series now. Even though we like dinosaur robots, that's the only thing people like about this game anymore. We don't even care about the main character anymore because you just want to make her into an LGBTQ icon. It's so painfully obvious. It's annoying to even play as a character anymore, especially when they're a girl boss lesbian icon. So it's just annoying to play as that character, so you don't even care about the main character, and all the side characters are just as uninteresting. And I think that's the thing Horizon Zero Dawn is suffering, and we can expect more of that from Sony, because Sony's positioned into doing such things where they're closing down the prominent studios that produce good content for studios that produce terrible, politically ideological driven games. And I think that's what we're seeing with Sony right now, where it's not going to change the course, and we're never going to get a pretty Aloy again, which is what people want in general. We just want a version of Aloy that is not annoying, that is back to her Horizon Zero Dawn form, where she was inquisitive, interesting, and engaging. And that version just doesn't exist anymore. And I think it's been drowned out by politics, and it's been drowned out by this political ideation on making all female characters without any female traits. And I think that's the thing that is reflected back on a lot of game players, where we're just looking at this game going, man, isn't this main character ugly and they're annoying? I don't really care about this game anymore. And I think that is an amazing feat to do when you have a game about robot dinosaurs, which should get anyone, any man or woman interested in the game, because it's just a cool concept. But you made a character so annoying and boring and uninteresting where people just don't even want to play that game anymore. And I think that is a disturbing feat to have, and it's interesting to see this play out in the future for Horizon Zero Dawn as it rewrites the past to fit the future it wants to see gamers follow. Are you going to follow that future? I'm not, but you leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the situation. What you think about Horizon Zero Dawn, the remaster. They're going to go back to the past and uglify Aloy even more, which is kind of a sad thought for the gamers that love the first one, because I love the first one. I thought it was good. It wasn't the most amazing game, but it was entertaining. And I didn't even play the second one because just the looks and feel of the game, it looked like it was trying to make a game for an audience that never played the first game. But that's just my thoughts on the situation. You tell me what you think about the situation. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is Wagner Knows Why. Catch you next time.